Hey everybody, this is Just the Tipper, and I am here to talk to you about music and what music means to me, and what I think it means to the world. So, my story with music begins when I was probably 12 years old, about 10 years old, and somewhere around there. And I was not into music that much. I listened to rock and, just the standard Guns N' Roses, Aerosmith, Green Day, what every kid that liked rock listened to. And so I just decided that, I'm going to play sports. I'm going to try to be productive and active and do things that my mom wanted me to do. And for a long time, I thought that's what I was going to do for the rest of my life was play sports. Well, one day my brother had moved out, and I had asked if I could come over. Well, he was he was really big into guitar, but not as much as he wanted to be because he was really busy with working. And so he decided to play his guitar before I came over, and I walk in the door and I hear this crazy sound coming from his garage. So I walk through the house and go to the garage, and lo and behold, he's playing his Ibanez EX240. Not the best guitar in the world, but it's my favorite one to just look at because it's a beautiful guitar. And he was playing a G power chord, and that G power chord just hit me right in the heart. I mean, I was in love as soon as I heard it, and I was just mesmerized by watching him just play power chords over power chords. And he wasn't the most fluent player, but he definitely could play a power chord. So I asked him, I said, "Hey, how long have you been playing guitar? I didn't even know you had one." And he goes, "Oh, I've been playing for so and so years." And I was like, "Wow, I never even knew that, and I'm a brother." So he decides to keep playing, and I'm like just blown away by everything he's doing. So I asked him, I said, "Do you have another guitar that I could possibly learn on?" And he told me, yeah, he would give me a guitar for my birthday. So I wait 2 months, and my birthday rolls around, and he decides to gift me his Ibanez, the guitar that I was in love with. I didn't have an amp, so I had to ask for an amp for my birthday from my mom, and she got me just this, tiny little crate amp. But it sounded good for being so young and not knowing what tone was. But anyways, so I started practicing and playing, and never had lessons. Couldn't convince my mom to give me lessons since I gave up on sports. She wasn't gonna let me give up on something else, so she just didn't care. She didn't support that decision in music. She didn't think there was a future there. And sometimes I think that there isn't a future there, but for me at least. But I try and I keep practicing. But anyways, music started to ring more with me, started to ingrain itself into my brain, and I just started playing more and more, and started to figure out power chords, and looked at and got online and found out what regular chords were and different in the modes, and I just fell in love. I couldn't stop playing. There were times where I would hit that ceiling and I felt like I couldn't bust through, but if you give yourself time and you really apply yourself to the instrument, you will make it. I promise you. It may feel like you're going nowhere, but trust me, you have plenty of years to keep learning. You don't have to be a famous guitar player to have fun with it. You can be just an average guy working at a factory or wherever you work and come home and pick up the guitar and just play. It doesn't matter as long as you are having fun with that instrument. I promise you, it will change the way you think about music. But on back onto the story, so I keep playing and I keep playing, and eventually I joined a band, not as a guitar player because I didn't feel like I was good enough, didn't have the knowledge of the fretboard that I should have had to be in a band. So I did vocals for a band called Carrion Vale for, I don't know, maybe 2 months, and I just wasn't into it. I didn't feel like metal was where I needed to be, and they didn't like my lyrics, and I didn't really like them. They just weren't the type of people I wanted to surround myself with on a daily basis. And sure, there was a couple of nice guys. I mean, one of them was one of my friends from high school, He named, and well, I can't really give you the name, but uh, the other guys, they just weren't into it, and we decided to part ways, and no hard feelings between any of us. We are all hunky dory. We don't talk anymore, but that's fine. I still have them friended on Facebook. But after Carrion Vale, I decided to try starting my own projects and trying to meet people to play music with, and I never really had the luck. I didn't have the luck that I could have had if I had looked harder for somebody to play with. And I've met a few people that were really good guitar players, but they just didn't have the motivation to keep coming back and practicing with me. I felt like I was the only one putting in the effort to keep playing. And sure, I'm not the best guitar player in the world, I'm far from it. But if you can just practice and practice and practice, and then somebody decides, hey, I'm going to try to join your group and play with you, but then a week goes by, another week goes by, and you're constantly hitting them up, and they're just like, no, I don't want to. You're going to have to part ways with them. But where I'm getting at with this story is, no, not everybody comes into music by their own choice or because they love music. Sometimes they just hear something, or they hear a song where the guitar just speaks to them emotionally and physically. They feel it in their soul. And I think that music is the most universal language on the planet. I mean, you can play a song that somebody on the other side of the world doesn't even speak your language, but you play a song for them, and it may or may not speak to them, but I'm sure you'll find a song from your country that their country has never heard before, or just he hasn't heard in person, and it may speak to them. And if it does speak to them, that's a language. It is speaking to them, and that is the most beautiful thing about this world. Is we can butt heads over wars, over property, over land, over religions, over color, over race. It's just, there's so many things blocking people from becoming friends with each other, or just being able to connect on a spiritual and emotional level. And I think music is the best way to connect with anybody. I have been in places where music was just everything to people. I mean, you see them dancing in the streets. I went to Mexico on a cruise with my mom when I was younger, and they would just dance in the streets to music. Just any song that played, they were dancing to. It didn't matter. They were having fun together with music. And I think that if you can find a way to make music, and it doesn't have to be what everybody loves, as long as you love what you are making, somebody out there is going to share that mindset and like the music that you make, as long as you put 100% into your instrument and you practice that instrument for at least 3 to 4 hours a day. And just practice your scales, practice your modes, practice your finger strength, your finger memorization. Everything that you can possibly do to learn your instrument, please do it. I promise you, you will not regret it. It may feel like you are not getting anywhere, but you will. I promise you. There is no reason that you would practice for years and years and years and not get anywhere, unless you had a wrist problem or something physical that you couldn't play the guitar, but you could still find a way around it. Speaking of which, I knew a boy in high school, and he had a problem with his thumb in his finger where he couldn't hold them together. So he bought a pick like this, a little thumb pick, and was able to play metal with just this, and not being able to even touch his fingers together. He could just play with his thumb and get the sound that he wanted. And he was one of the best guitar players I have ever met, because he spent all of his time just mastering his craft and what he did and the way he did it. And I think if you have an issue or have a wrist problem, find another way to play. There's always alternatives. There's always a way to figure out. You are a human, and we have adapted and overcome so many challenges on this planet. You think that just because you have something wrong with you makes you not able to do something. Well, I promise you it's not true. There's always a way to do something. There's always a way to work your way around it. You just have to adapt and overcome your problems. I think that everybody in the world should at least give music a shot. And you don't even have to play the instrument, just listen to music. Music is the universal language, and music is by far the most amazing thing to ever touch down on this planet, to ever grace this planet. It's just, it makes me so happy just to listen to music, just to be a part of music. And I don't have a band now. I just have this small YouTube channel with 3 subscribers, but I'm hoping one day that I can get out there and more people enjoy my content. I made this video just because I feel like people needed to know my history with music and what I believe music is. And I hope that everybody out there maybe listens to this, watches this all the way through, and just says, you know what, this guy makes sense. He sounds like somebody that really enjoys music, and I do. I don't think music should ever be played just to make money, just to get fans, just to have sex, or anything like that. You should play music because you love music, because you want to further the world with your music and the way that you put it down. I promise you, if you give yourself a shot and you just play guitar or whatever instrument you may play, you will get there. It may take a couple of years, it may take longer. And if you're a natural, it may take you a couple of months before you're jamming away and you're skyrocketing. There is no ceiling for you. You just go. I've seen a lot of people do that. I had a guy that I went to high school with that, just like I said, the guy with the thumb pick, he had a brother that played guitar with him, and he could play, and he picked up the guitar one day after watching his brother play and just surpassed his brother. By all means, surpassed him. In a matter of months, just surpassed him in all of his skill, and his brother was putting all of his time into it. But this guy just had that knack for making music, and you may have it too, but you may not even know it. You might be a football player or a basketball player or somebody that's really into business or home design or clothing, and one day you may hear a song that you just really want to learn on an instrument, and then when you pick it up or start playing that instrument, and then you just start jamming away, and just you're like, oh my God, I didn't know I was this good at it. It's because you love it. You want to do it. It's something that your brain tells you that is the most enjoyable thing that you can do. And I think that if you just apply yourself and just play and just have a good time with it, you're going to find out that that's the most beautiful thing anybody can see. Music is the most universal language on this world. There is no language that you can speak that everybody will understand except music. And I promise you, music is the way. Well, I would like to thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and possibly subscribe to my channel. I don't really expect anybody to do anything that I ask them to do, but if you enjoyed it, please help me out and give me a like. I would love to see that people are enjoying my content. I'm going to start uploading a lot more guitar videos and playthroughs and a lot of my own original work. I don't like doing guitar covers very much. I feel like learning other people's stuff is fun, but I feel like when you want to put something on YouTube, I feel like it should be something you created, if that makes any sense. But that's just one opinion from one person on a planet full of millions. And I think that we should all learn from music. I'm Tipper the Guitar Guy, and I will see y'all later. Bye.